Hello beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel Roseology. Today's pick a card reading is the second video to a series that I want to start on my channel here, and that is where we combine tarot and astrology in a way where I use tarot as almost a language interpreter for what our natal chart is trying to say to us, and the placements of these planets, how they apply to our life, what they are trying to teach us, and how this energy manifests in our own world and reality. So this pick a card today, we are getting to know Saturn and how this planet shapes our world. So if you'd like to know your Saturn placement, I have left a link in the description box to astro.com, where you can type in all of your birth credentials and you get a free snapshot of the heavens at the moment that you were born. And this will show you the sign, house, and aspects of where your natal Saturn is located. So just a brief explanation as to who Saturn is in our life and the energy that this planet brings. So beautiful Saturn is a generational planet, and all of this means is that it's one of the planets that is furthest from our sun. So it takes Saturn around 2 years to move through each zodiac sign, and it takes roughly 28 to 30 years for Saturn to make a complete run through the 12 zodiac signs. So people born within 2 years of each other more than likely have the same Saturn placement. To see which house Saturn falls into takes knowing your actual birth time, like the hour and minute that you were born, as well as the location, and this is pretty important to know for other reasons that I won't be getting into today because that would take a lot more explaining. But anyways, so Saturn is the god of discipline, challenges, and fears. A lot of people dislike Saturn as well as Uranus too. They both get a pretty bad rep, and I understand why. It took me years to warm up to both of these planets. Saturn is my chart ruler, and it's also in my first house, as well as Uranus is. Uranus is actually sitting on the cusp of my ascendant, same degree in everything, as well as another generational planet, all in my first house. This is it's pretty wild what's going on in my first house. But Saturn has played a major role all throughout my life, to the point to where now I am actually very appreciative of this beautiful planet and the energy that it's brought to my life. I actually call it Father Saturn because that's how I see this planet. I see it as one of my guides. It's always kind of kicking my ass and getting me into shape. So yes, this planet will put you through some of your toughest challenges and through the most frightening scenarios in your life. But Saturn does not do this to punish us. It does not do this to break us. Every single planet, everything in existence, in space, in the universe, it has a job, and Saturn's job is to be that tough, loving father, the one that pushes you to the next level, even though you are sore and beat up from previous lessons and encounters. Saturn pushes us because he knows that we are strong and capable enough to persevere. In my opinion, Saturn should be called the god of perseverance because it's what he's about. He's about defying the impossible and beating the odds, and he never sets us up for failure. Anything that we go through in life can be defeated, and will be if we so choose it. So Saturn toughens us up, but it does not harden us against others or the world or emotions or our relationships or ourselves. Saturn does not make us cynical or mean or cold. That would be the more so shadow aspect to Saturn. Everything has a shadow and a light side. But what Saturn does do is it provides us with the strength to endure through anything because it is the ruler of Capricorn. And it's crazy because I feel like Capricorn doesn't get enough love. Everybody talks about there's certain signs and things in astrology that gets like a lot more attention than other ones, and I really don't know why this happens because I feel like every single sign has certain like superpowers and abilities that they all bring to the forefront, they all bring to the fray, and I feel like each sign is something that we can all majorly learn from. But you know, there's certain signs that just don't get as much love, and I feel like Capricorn is one of them. I feel like everybody kind of talks about other signs, so I feel like Capricorn gets overlooked a lot, but that's honestly how Capricorn probably likes it. Capricorn is the goat, the literal and metaphorical goat, the greatest of all time, right? This tiny frail little animal that shouldn't be able to climb can climb mountains and does so with ease and makes it all the way to the top. This is the energy of Saturn. Like I was saying, he's about defying the odds. He can make anyone a warrior, and that's his job, is to mold us into these fierce, fearless warriors that learn how to tackle whatever is in our way, because Saturn sees the potential in us before we even see it in ourselves, and it pushes us because we don't believe in ourselves, but Saturn does. Saturn knows without a shadow of a doubt that we have the potential to rise above, and that's why it pushes us. That's why it's constantly pushing us, and that's why a lot of people don't like Saturn, because a lot of people don't want to get pushed outside of that comfort zone, outside of that safety zone, you know, but that's exactly what he does. So Saturn also brings maturation, and if you notice people talking about their Saturn return, this is around the time that you are in your really late 20s, 28, 29, 30 years old. And as you guys know, the year 30, turning 30 is such a big deal for most people, especially here in America. That's when a lot of people start thinking about, maybe I should get married, or maybe I should have kids, or maybe I should start that business or move to another country. This is when people start thinking about putting down roots somewhere because they want to get more serious about their life. And then when Saturn makes this return again to that same location at the moment that we were born, this is around the age 60, because remember, it takes around 30 years for Saturn to make a complete cycle through each 12 zodiac signs. So the second Saturn return, we're around the age 60. And this is when we start to deal with the crushing realization of our own mortality. This is another moment when we look back on our lives to see how far it is that we've come, what it is that we've accomplished. Saturn forces us to be brutally honest about our accomplishments and where we are at in our life. That's the energy of Capricorn. That's the energy of the 10th house. And both of these things are ruled by Saturn. So it's all about legacy. What memory am I leaving behind? What did I or didn't I accomplish? So Saturn kind of holds that sacred key to what you should be doing with your life. And this could manifest as natural gifts, abilities, and talents, but Saturn likes to show us what we should be doing with our life by showing us what's wrong with our life. So this would be our weaknesses, insecurities, the weak spots and points in our life. That's what Saturn focuses on, is how to strengthen us so we can continue on our journey of evolution, how we can turn these weaknesses into strengths and possible talents and abilities. Maybe our insecurities were at one point a natural talent of ours that we lost touch with, and Saturn is about refortifying these weak spots because we need them, and we need them to function properly. So depending on where this beautiful planet falls in your chart, and depending on where Saturn is currently transiting through the charts, through your chart, this could be an area where you see the most difficulties in your life in a very general sense. This could be the area that you struggle with a lot, but like I said, he never sets us up for failure. So once you learn how to cope and work with these challenges, that's when Saturn frees you from the clutches of enduring these challenges and moves you into a space where you are now receiving the rewards for your labors, for your hard work, for your struggles. So for instance, Saturn at the moment is sitting very pretty in its own sign of Capricorn, and is conjunct Pluto in our south node. So this could manifest with Saturn shining a light on our past life, or our childhood, or past relationships, or our past in general, maybe some emotions that we never dealt with. There's some sort of cycle or a habitual cycle that we may have never dealt with, or that we never really put an end to, or maybe we did put an end to it completely, and it's coming back around to test our resolve. But many of us are nearing the end of many of these cycles now as Saturn pulls away from the south node. And that's just a very general brief overlook at the current Saturn placement. And when I say Saturn conjunct Pluto, Saturn conjunct the south node, that just means that Saturn is sitting very close to Pluto in the south node. It's sitting within 8 degrees. That's what conjunction means in astrology. So hopefully that explanation of Saturn made some sense to you guys. Hopefully it helped you get a better understanding of Saturn, because I feel like Saturn is just that really misunderstood, tough loving parent, you know? So hopefully that kind of helped you guys to see a different side to Saturn. But this is how I interpret Saturn. So hopefully it did make some sense to you guys. And as always on my channel, I want to encourage you guys to construct your own perception and interpretation of these card readings. And when I'm speaking about astrology and literally anything it is that I ever talk about up here, I like to keep things really abstract and to speak in theoretical terms, so that the way I can give you and your guides enough space and room to formulate your own view of your own life. I know some of you are looking for more details maybe, but I have to think about the collective, especially in these general readings where we're all coming from different walks of life. So what applies to one person might not apply to someone else. And that's why it's my number one priority to make sure that I always leave enough room for you all to consult your own intuition to fill in any blanks. Okay, so hopefully, like I was saying, hopefully this Saturn explanation made some sense to you guys. If not, you guys can go on ahead and leave some questions and comments down below, or if you'd like me to speak more about this, speak more about astrology, just let me know down in the comment section below. So before we start off, let me just say that this is a general reading, and in order for this reading to resonate with your own individual energy, life, and circumstances, you need to be intuitively synced into the energy of this reading. To help you all do that, I will be offering a 60-second meditation. The last 30 seconds, I will be adding crystals and runes to each pile. So if you'd like to participate in this meditation, go on ahead, get relaxed. I want you to try to become aware of your own body, starting with your feet. And then I want you to work that awareness all the way up in sections from your feet to your legs, to your abdomen, to your chest, and then head. And then I want you to work that awareness down to your arms and hands. Once you have shifted your awareness to your entire being, your entire body, I want you to then take a deep breath in through your nose for around 5 seconds. Let that breath move through your lungs into filling your stomach. Hold that breath for around 3 seconds. Then exhale deeply out of your mouth for 6 to 7 seconds. After doing that a few times, you should be nice and relaxed. So this is pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. We'll start that meditation right now. Alright, so I placed some crystals as well as runes on each of the piles here. I'll be going over the runes as I get to each pile. But here on pile 1, we have aragonite. Pile 2, sodalite. Pile 3, a dendritic agate. And pile 4, a desert rose selenite. So I'll give you guys another 30 seconds to meditate with the runes and crystals on each pile. All right, so hopefully that meditation was enough time for you to intuitively sink into the energy of this reading. Let me take the time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, and spirit itself for delivering these beautiful messages here. I also want to take the time to thank you all for giving me and my channel a chance. Thank you for opening up your hearts to me. I love you all so, so, so much. Now I think it's about that time to meet Saturn and see what it is that he has to say to you. All right, pile 1, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with this card all the way over here to the left. And this card is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn is actually trying to teach you. This is going to be showing me how Saturn's energy manifests in your life. And this is going to be showing me how you can work with the planet Saturn and the energy that it brings to your life, okay? All right, and this is the rune stone that we had on pile 1. And this is the rune of divine interaction, or a gift. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with this card here first, and we have these 6 of Pentacles in reverse. So Saturn is trying to teach my pile 1s how to be independent, how to do things on your own without reaching out for help. It's not that you need to do everything on your own, or you need to go without help and without asking others for help. Your Saturn is just trying to teach you self-sufficiency. It wants you to attempt to figure things out on your own first before inviting others in to see what they can provide. Saturn wants you to realize that you don't need anyone. Need being the operative word to focus on here. You don't need. You invite, you allow, you accept, but you do not need. So you may have had struggles in your relationships for a very long time. You may deal with a lot of flaky people that are here one minute, gone the next, or committed one day and then abandoning that promise the next day. This is Saturn. This is Saturn that's doing that. He is coming in and removing your crutches. He is removing your safety nets, the things that make you feel comfortable. And this may feel very scary or very isolating, but there's a profound reason for this. It's for you to see your own worth and capability instead of asking someone else to show it to you. This card in the Rider-Waite deck is depicted as this man handing out money to people begging on the streets. This man is the one with the power to decide how much charity they deserve, how much compassion and mercy they deserve. Saturn wants you to realize you are not in need anymore. Now you are capable. In this lifetime or at this point in your life, you are capable with or without others around. Another lesson this could be teaching some of you is to stop trying to pay for your mistakes. Stop trying to provide consolation for what has already happened. Any mistakes, choices, actions, or decisions you made are no longer yours to bear anymore. You have paid for your decisions and sins. You have been forgiven. You don't need to search for that anymore. You don't need to suffer to pay for what's been done. The slate has been wiped clean. I don't know if this is applying to any of you, but it's coming through, so I really wanted to make sure that I said it. But this card could also be referring to if you feel it as though you've made any mistakes in your life, if you feel as though you've done anything in your life that you weren't very proud of, this is for you. And this is saying that it's okay. You don't have to keep paying for this. You don't have to keep punishing yourself. And if there's anyone in your life that is still punishing you for certain mistakes, don't take that to heart. Don't take that as in, yeah, that, you know, I deserve this. I deserve this type of treatment. I deserve this pain. I deserve to keep going through reliving this pain, reliving this mistake. No, you don't deserve to keep reliving this mistake over and over and over again. That time has come and gone. You've paid for that. So this card could also be referring to that as well, okay? So let's go on ahead and move on to this card here. And this is going to be showing me how does Saturn's energy manifest in your life, okay? The Two of Pentacles. Wow. So it tears you in half. So on one end, many of you want to live your life without feeling held back by some sort of burden. But on the other hand, you see this burden as a responsibility of yours. And this is where it becomes difficult for you. This manifests in ways where you might find it very difficult to be in the present, to be in the now, to enjoy the moment. You may find it difficult to concentrate on one thing or one person or one idea. You may feel very torn between what you should do and what you want to do. I feel like this takes a huge toll on your energy too. At first, I was feeling like your Saturn could be a water sign, that's Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or 12th, 4th, or 8th house. But now I'm wondering if it's in a fire sign, and that would be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or the 1st, 5th, or 9th houses. And again, when I mention signs and houses, your Saturn doesn't have to be located in one of these specific areas in your natal chart for this message to apply. There's so many things that influence our charts, okay? So this is the energy that I'm sensing or picking up with your natal Saturn. But I feel like Saturn definitely pulls you in half, like it cuts you down the middle, where it may even cause for some of you, I'm not feeling this super strongly, but for a very small amount of you, this could manifest as identity crisis too. But for a very small amount of you, this could manifest as identity crisis too, some form of identity crisis. Because you are torn between being this responsible adult that does what they're supposed to do versus doing what it is that you want to do. It's so difficult for you to walk away from these responsibilities, but at the same time, they feel like burdens or anchors, and you don't want to admit that. So you try to just work through it. You try to just ignore it and to look past it, because what else is your option? You can't be the type of person that walks away from your duties. You feel like you wouldn't be able to live with yourself knowing that you walked away from that. But at the same time, you have this heavy weight of feeling like, but can I walk away from the life that's calling out to me, the life that I want to live? Man, this is tough. I'm feeling like I'm struggling right now with like a decision. I'm picking up that energy is where it's just like, you're just so torn between, yes, I have these responsibilities and I'm not the type of person to walk away from them. But at the same time, I also feel like I have a responsibility to listen to my heart. I feel like I also have a responsibility to listen to what it is that is speaking to my spirit, my soul, what it is that I want to do. I feel like there's an experience that's calling out to me, reaching out for me. And so it's like you're torn between these two things that feel like a responsibility, you know, and they just manifest differently. They have like different symptoms in a way, okay? So let's go ahead and check out this card here. It's going to be showing me how you can work with the energy that Saturn is bringing to your life. And we have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. So this card is saying to integrate both worlds bit by bit. Doing either or is not going to help. That's only going to hurt you and leave you with a massive amount of guilt. You have such a weight on your shoulders where you just don't want to let anyone down, but you also don't want to let yourself down. And I feel like that's what you fear the most, maybe even without realizing it. But I feel like that's one of your great fears is, you know, but what if I let myself down? And I feel like that's where this kind of paradox comes into play. I feel like that's where this sort of issue, this kind of debate comes into play here. You have such a weight on your shoulders, but Saturn is here saying to release perfection. Stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to perfect your life, your world, your environment, yourself. Perfection is impossible. It's a game you will never win and an effort that you will never amount to, because there's no such thing as perfection. That's a quest that even our soul, our higher self, doesn't even try to reach for it, because it understands that perfection is imperfection. Perfection is a evolutionary process that never stops converting. So if you're always adapting to a new lesson, a new challenge, you're never going to reach perfection, because it simply doesn't exist. If it did, there would be such a thing as an ending, but there isn't. There is no finish line. So it's important to not put that impossible goal of perfection into your own hands, because your higher self doesn't even desire perfection. It craves knowledge and wisdom through experiences, through lessons, through learning. So for you, the way that you work with Saturn is by releasing your need to perfect, by releasing your grasp on what you think you are supposed to do. We come here with one job, with just one job, and that is solely to be ourselves. That's all we have to do. That is all you need to do. All of these ideals and roles and jobs that you have to show up for, they're just too daunting. Saturn wants you to give up your idea of what this life is supposed to be like or look like. Give up your idea of perfection, because it's not the right idea. It's not the right way that Saturn wants you to see yourself in your world, because Saturn knows, like I said, Saturn never sets you up for failure. So by you expecting perfection from yourself and nothing less, that is you setting yourself up for failure. That is your shadow side of Saturn. That is a side of Saturn that does not work for anyone. That is a side of Saturn that sets you up for failure. That is not truly Saturn. That's the shadow side. Okay, so your Saturn is saying to give up perfection, to release that perfection, because it is a quest. It is a finish line that you are never going to reach. It is a job that you're never going to fit. You're never going to fill into those shoes. You have to release that, okay? So let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here to see what else it is that we were saying about your Saturn here. And the very first one that we have here is grounding, soul tree, Jupiter return, benefits, and look at this, you guys, the alchemist. Beautiful. Okay, so with soul tree and grounding, Saturn wants you to just simply stop trying and to ground yourself fully in this human experience. Like I was saying earlier, you may have a very hard time being present in the now, in the moment. Saturn wants you to root yourself in this life so you are not missing out on what is being taught to you. Because if you keep missing your lessons, they're just going to keep popping back up in your life, except they're going to be more potent and a little more difficult, because Saturn is the master teacher. But I feel like for my pile ones, that this is a very impactful planet for you guys. For some of you, Saturn may even be your chart ruler, because he's completely unavoidable for my group ones here. And I can sense many of you trying to escape from Saturn's hard lessons, like the alchemist here. I see you can be very creative when it comes to ways of how you can wear every hat and attend every role and do every job to appease others and yourself. But Saturn is saying no more of that. Saturn wants you to do one job, the one task that you were sent here with, and that's just to be you. I also see you being very creative and very crafty when it comes to kind of avoiding Saturn, maybe saying no, or maybe letting down people. Maybe that's one of your great fears. It may be letting others down, letting yourself down. Jupiter return benefits is definitely telling me that whatever karmic debt you had or were paying back has been paid for many of you, and now is the time for you to start receiving again. It says Jupiter return. Jupiter is a planet of abundance and fortune. In a general sense, your Jupiter return is bringing you good fortune in some area of your life. So check out where your natal Jupiter falls in your chart, as well as Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. And I said I felt like your Saturn could have been in a fire sign, as well as there's a lot of blue here. Blue rules the throat chakra, as you guys can see. Let me just take this card off. We just have a lot of blues here, and then this card is even kind of bluish. So yeah, we have kind of like a lot of blue going on that rules the throat chakra, as well as blue is kind of reminiscent of water, you know, things like that. So, you know, it kind of feels like water being submersed in water. And I mentioned your Saturn felt like it had some water placements or some water energy as well within that. So definitely check that out. But yeah, for sure, your Saturn is really trying to teach you how to be self-sufficient, how to be you, how to rely on you, not to necessarily walk away from others and say, I don't need you. No, it's not about that. It's just about realizing that you don't need anyone, that when others are around, that is a benefit, that is a bonus, that is a plus, that is addition to you, okay? But it is not something that you need. You're not lacking because another person is not present. You are enough with or without other people around. And Saturn is really trying to show you just how capable, just how self-sufficient you are. But you have to really release this idea of being perfect. You have to really release this idea of trying to fulfill all these different roles and fulfill all these different responsibilities, so that the way you do come off as I am enough, I am perfect, I am this, I am that. It's not about that. It's not about wearing that perception. It's about being. Saturn is really trying to tell my pile ones, this is not about acting. This is not about trying. This is not about doing or perceiving. This is just about being. This is simply just about you being you being naturally you in your own essence. And this is exactly what Saturn wants you to realize, is that perfection is a goal that you will never reach. So don't reach for it. Don't even waste your time. It is a complete waste of energy. It's a rat race that's taking away from all of these other lessons, from all of these other life experiences, okay? So this is all that I'm seeing from my pile ones. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I want to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self and spirit itself, for delivering such a beautiful message today. I pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, and I'm going to go on ahead and move on to pile number 2, all right? Bye, guys. All right, pile 2, welcome to your reading. This is the rune representing the tree of life, dreaming, magic, and death. So pile 2, we are going to be starting off with this card all the way over here to the left, and this card is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn is trying to teach you. This card is in the middle, is going to be showing me how does Saturn's energy manifest in your life, and this card all the way over here to the right is going to be showing me how you can work with the energy of Saturn, okay? So we're going to be starting off with this card first. Let's see what we've got here. The card of Justice. So this is interesting. I feel like Saturn is teaching my pile 2s how to draw a line in the sand, how to make a decision and to stick with that decision despite the other alternatives. So this may come through for some of you by speaking up and maintaining your thoughts or decisions, not playing devil's advocate with your life, but deciding, no, this is where I belong, or this is what I'm doing, and not straying from that. This could also come through in a way where Saturn teaches you emotional and verbal restraint, or emotional and verbal discipline, where he teaches you how to know what you want and how to not be persuaded because you know what you want and you trust in that. This is Saturn trying to teach you how to not live with as many options, but to find peace and contentment with only one, how to find security in that. Some of you may like your options because you see options as a cushion, a soft place to land on should another option fall through. I believe some of you see commitment possibly as a risky trap, or as you don't like putting all of your eggs into one basket. You prefer to spread them out so you are secure in several places. So it's kind of like Saturn is teaching you how to trust, but in a very distinct manner. It's like, I don't believe many of you have trust issues. You just really like to feel secure. And you somewhere or somehow in your life learned that investing in one thing might not be the best idea. So I feel as though Saturn's biggest lesson for you, pile 2, is I'm going to focus all of what I can give into this one thing. So there is no going back on my word or my actions. What's done is done. Because when you start to see your words and your actions as these permanent stances that you cannot regress from, you start to value more of yourself, more of your words, more of your time, your decisions, your actions. You become more careful when choosing to take certain courses. This really forces you to slow down and think about the options that are right in front of you and what you want to do with them. That is Saturn's biggest lesson for you. Saturn's biggest lesson is you valuing your own decisions, your own actions, your own time. That the way that you are not just kind of impulsively making decisions, or that the way you're not just kind of making a decision on the fly, or making a decision without really having all of the information right there available or in front of you. So this is just really Saturn's way of saying, hey, you know, like, these decisions that you're making right now, this is what is going to turn into your future. This is what is shaping your future. So I need you to really stop and really think about if this is what you want or not. And this is what Saturn is really trying to do, is trying to really kind of force you guys to slow down and say, I don't need to have all these different options. I can just go with one option and really focus all of my energy there, really invest all of myself into this one thing. That the way I can see past all these tedious minor details, and I can formulate the them all in a constructive way, in a conducive way that is going to help me to see everything it is that I need to see about this one option. So let's go ahead and take a look at this card in the middle. This is going to be showing me how Saturn's energy manifests in your life. And we have here the moon in reverse. So the way that this can manifest is two ways. One way is there's the shadow side of where you are more afraid of making decisions. You have more anxiety about trying to decide what to do. You may feel lost or confused, and that may cause you to decide to take no action. So instead of being a orchestrator in your own life, you may sort of fade into the background because you're not wanting or willing to choose. You don't want to take a stance either which way, because what if you do change your mind? But this leads to inaction and indecision. This may also creep in as fear of being able to make the right choice. There's just this feeling of being lost, being in the dark, and not being able to sense your own compass, to know which direction to go in. The positive side or way to benefit from this energy here is this fear and reluctance causing you to move at a slower pace so you can see all of your options instead of just a few. I think another way that this Saturn energy may manifest in your life is it brings your shadow out of hiding so you can consult it face to face. And this is another huge benefit of your Saturn placement, because when you get to consult your shadow, that means, like I was saying, you get to see all of your options. Your shadow is going to show you the options that you truly want, not the options that others are able to tolerate or accept. Your shadow doesn't consult the other, it only knows itself. So when you are able to access the unconscious side of your being and your brain, you are able to get down to the root of not only what you want, but why you want what you want, and if it's actually a good fit for your life. Saturn manifests by bringing your subconscious and unconscious to the forefront. It's like instead of consulting this prime, domesticated, learned part of yourself that has been molded by others and by yourself, you are consulting that raw, authentic side of yourself that's going to give it to you straight, no filter about what you truly want and what you truly need. It's a little bit harder to hear from that shadow side sometimes. This Saturn placement, it feels like it could be in some of you guys' 8th house, or it could be in Scorpio, as well as this could be in an air sign, maybe Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and that would be the 11th, 3rd house, and 7th house. And like I was saying, you know, Saturn doesn't have to be necessarily in that specific part of your chart in order for this message to apply to you. That's just the energy that I'm picking up here. That's what it feels like to me. It also feels like your Saturn could be in Virgo as well, some mutable energy coming up. That could be, Virgo is the ruler of the 6th house, so it could also be the 6th house. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out this card here to see how it is that you can work with Saturn's energy, okay? And we have here the 5 of Cups. Yep. Exactly. So you are supposed to downsize when it comes to your choices and options, pile 2. This card is telling you that when one alternative turns off its availability, you have to be able to move on to what is available, to what still has potential and a possible future with you in it. Saturn wants you to focus on substance and what can provide for you and to you. For some of you guys, this feels a lot like Saturn applying pressure to your relationships in your life, making sure that you are only dealing with people that are available, emotionally available, mentally available, spiritually available. And it seems as if Saturn is trying to also teach you how to be available for others and to others, because it looks like some of you do this dance in your relationships from time to time where it's like when you're available, your partner isn't, and when your partner is available, you're not engaged, or you're not obtainable, or you're not available. It's like this dance where the two of you keep missing each other. And I feel like for some of you, this has happened in a few of your relationships, or this is the main theme in your relationships and in your personal life. Availability is how you work with Saturn, and having a lot of options does not make you open and available. It makes you more closed off, if anything, because you are divided amongst these different things. You are being pulled in so many different directions. You are investing fractions of yourself, so you are unable to be fully present in either case. And this is Saturn's main lesson, and this is how you work with it. Downsizing your options and opening up the possibility of securing just one thing instead of multiple things, okay? So let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here to see what else it is that I'm seeing for your Saturn, see what else it is Saturn is saying. And we have here the card of awakening. And then we have visualize, the 9th house, faith, and underworld. Visualize, awakening, and 9th house, faith, they're all very similar in the way that they are urging you to see past the confinements that you have possibly set for yourself. They want you to see a life that's just as safe and secure without being divided up into different avenues. They want you to see that there's comfort and happiness with commitment, as well as ninth house could be alluding to you having Saturn in your ninth house or the sign of Sagittarius. I mentioned earlier how this feels like your Saturn could be in a mutable sign like Virgo. Sagittarius is also another mutable sign. For me though, this feels a lot more like maybe water or air. That could be Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, and that would be the 12th, 4th, or 8th houses, or Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, and that is the 11th, 3rd, and 7th houses. So I could totally see your Saturn being in your 7th house because, like I mentioned earlier, it feels like your natal Saturn applies a lot of pressure to your relationships. And I could see how Sagittarius could be an option because mutable energy is very adaptable. It's very flexible. It doesn't make too many firm decisions. It's very flexible, very buoyant sort of energy. It kind of bounces from thing to thing to thing, or it's kind of like a floater in a way. It's like the air, it just moves where it wants to go. So it doesn't make too many firm decisions. And then we have the card here of underworld. And this card is confirmation of, like I said, how Saturn brings your shadow out of hiding. The shadow is our unconscious, not our subconscious, but the unconscious, which is like our very own personal underworld. This terrifying place of traits and characteristics, likes and dislikes that we've thrown away by not associating with them anymore. This is why when we project, we often have no clue that we are projecting because we don't notice the shadow. We don't associate with it. We don't even recognize it when we see it dead on. And we're usually projecting this into our relationships, but we just never really connect the dots that, hey, this is me, not you. This is actually me. Underworld is screaming that your shadow is a side you really want to consider working with, because like I was saying, Saturn is going to keep pulling your unconscious into focus, and it's going to scare you or confuse you every time until you begin to acknowledge what you truly want and need in your life, okay? So no more ignoring any more parts of yourself. Really bring every single piece of yourself that you have divided up into different fractions, that you have compartmentalized in different areas. Bring them all together into one unified front, so that the way you can consult all of you when it comes to making these decisions, that the way you can put all of your eggs in one basket in a comfortable and a secure way, where you're not anxious, where you're not worried that, oh my gosh, what if this falls through? You're not worried about that because you're completely invested into this thing. You're going to be able to see everything 50 miles down the road, like light years before it even happens, because you were completely fully invested into this, okay? So this is all that I'm seeing from my pile twos. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I also want to take this time again to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self and spirit itself for delivering such a beautiful message today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But for right now, I'm going to go on ahead and move on to the next pile number 3. All right. Bye, guys. All right, in pile 3, welcome to your reading. So the rune stone that you had on your pile is the rune for protection, polarity, and regeneration. And this rune is connected to Thor. So we're going to be starting off with this card all the way over here to the left. And this is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn is teaching you. The card in the middle is going to be showing me how Saturn's energy actually manifests in your life. And this third card all the way over here to the right is going to be showing me how you can work with Saturn to get all of the benefits that you can get out of Saturn, okay? Because he offers a lot of benefits. He comes with a lot of rewards, actually. He's not all bad. All right, so we're going to be starting off with this card here. And we have here the 4 of Pentacles. Okay, so I like to try and feel the cards before I flip them over. And I really focused on this card in this pile doing that for some reason. And I immediately felt like something was trying to pull me away because I felt stuck. And I literally felt my energy being pulled. And I knew that this had a lot to do with relationships somehow, leaving cycles, leaving what isn't meant for us anymore, leaving behind what had become unhealthy, leaving behind anything that is standing in between you and your future. So you may have the feeling of being suffocated by some of your relationships, by the people and conditions and rules around you. So I'm not shocked to see this 4 of Pentacles here. You may feel as though you are being held back by some sort of unseen force. Saturn is trying to teach you how to walk away from comfort, from the norm, from the predictable. Saturn is the force you feel that is pulling you away. It felt like as I was channeling this card, it felt like you were being pulled by one force in one direction and by a different force in a different direction. And one of them, you have absolutely no clue what's over there. And on the other side, you know exactly what's back there because it's your past. But because it's become so normalized, it's become so comfortable. And when I say comfortable, let me just clear this up, because comfort doesn't necessarily mean good or healthy. I feel for many of you that have picked pile 3 have found comfort in chaos and discord and pain and trauma and lack. You've found a comfort in it, not because it feels good to go through these things, but because you already know what to expect. It doesn't feel much like a risk when you already know what this person is capable of, or what happened the last time you dealt with a similar situation or a similar person. We are human beings. We adapt. So even if our environment isn't that great, we many times still find a home, a place of belonging in the madness, a place of comfort in it. Saturn is trying to remove you from that by saying, but this isn't normal, but this isn't okay, but this isn't right. So much has been overlooked. You've overlooked so much pain, so much lack, so much betrayal. You've overlooked all of these things because you adapted to the environment. You've found lack to be a normal thing. You see betrayal as something to be expected. You see difficulties in your relationships as, oh, well, that's love, that's relationships, that's people, that's this, that's that. No, it's not normal. No, it's not okay. And you are too worthy to settle for this type of life. That's what Saturn is trying to teach you. Saturn is trying to say, do you even know who you are? You think you are only working with 4 pentacles. You think you are only worth these 4 coins. So you hold on to them. You think that this is normal. You think that this is what everyone goes through. So you hold on by dealing with it, by tolerating it. You shouldn't have to tolerate your life, pile 3. So let's go on ahead and move on to this middle card right here. This is going to be showing me how Saturn's energy manifests in your life. So let's see what we have. And we have the 7 of Wands. As I channeled this card, I felt chaos. Just like a lot going on, like can't catch your breath, can barely keep up with everything that's going on. It's like a lot of fuckery that's going on. That's what I got as I held this card. It's like you put out one fire only for another one to start somewhere else, down the street or in a different state, somewhere else. Like you can't get there fast enough, just metaphorically speaking. But there is constant movement. Saturn's energy manifests in your life by causing fires, by causing discord. It's trying to show you that no matter how many fires you put out, no matter how many times, there's always going to be another one. There's always going to be more. And Saturn is doing this to show you it's not your job to tolerate the chaos. It's not about putting out the fire. It's about walking away from it entirely and calling the firefighters, the people that are built for this job, the people that signed up to do this job. It's about calling them to come and deal with it. You're dealing with problems that are not yours to figure out. You're dealing with fires that you never started. You're dealing with responsibilities that are not yours to bear. But because you have decided this is normal, you endure them, you tolerate them. Life is supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be pulling my hair out, or stressed, or anxious, or depressed, or angry, or in pain. Saturn wants to show you no matter how many issues, problems, or fires you deal with, they will never go away. You have to walk away. You have to make a conscious decision to say, this is not my fight. This is not my battle. This isn't even meant for me. But first, in order to do that, you have to open your eyes. You have to connect your consciousness to the fact that you are dealing with these things. So many of you here don't even realize that you are dealing with issues that are not yours. And it's because you are consciously unaware of the fact that you are choosing to deal with these things. Sometimes it's not about our options and what those options are and what the outcome of these options are going to be. Sometimes it's more about realizing that we have options, that we have a choice in the first place. But we as people get so centered on, well, what are my choices? What are the details of these choices? Instead of remembering that you are making a choice, you are acting, you are doing. It's important to realize that you are making the choice to deal with these things. You are consciously unaware, and that's how these issues have snuck into your life. That's how others have been able to take advantage of you, because you don't realize that you are choosing to tolerate, you are choosing to settle. Realize first and foremost that you have options, and it is all in your hands to choose what to do. You don't have to choose what is right in front of you. You can also choose not to tolerate, not to settle, not to deal with it at all. You can actually choose to walk away from these options, but first you have to realize that you have a choice, okay? So let's go ahead and check out this card here. And this is going to be showing me how you can work with Saturn's energy to get the most out of it. The High Priestess. Wow. So this is how you work with Saturn, is by focusing, by listening to your body. How do you feel? Are you tired? Are you exhausted, angry? Are you in pain? Are you fed up? Listen to your body. If you are feeling anything other than amazing, why are you choosing to still tolerate? Why are you choosing to hurt yourself even more and put yourself through more struggle? Your high priestess is coming to say, work with me. Your higher self is saying to come home, come to me, and I will guide you through this. We will do this together. Your high priestess is beckoning you to find her. She wants to connect you to your more hidden emotions and feelings, because that's where your truth lies. Your truth is in these hidden places that are demanding your attention. But because you are distracted by so many other things, it's difficult for you to hear her, for you to feel her. The high priestess is someone that you have to seek out. She never leaves her throne. That's why she's always seated. She invites you in. So even if you try to go looking for her, she may not answer, because she's so intelligent and she knows the wisdom and knowledge that she has to share with you. This is information that you can only digest at the perfect point in time. She knows that if she tries to feed you any sort of knowledge or wisdom, that it will be forced if you are not ready, and you won't be able to metabolize all of the gifts that she tries to hand you. But your high priestess is calling you. She's inviting you and saying that you are ready. And when you are ready, I am ready. So come and find me. She doesn't hide when she sends you an invite. So you will know your way to her. It will be effortless. Your high priestess is waiting for you to reach that breaking point, because it's in those breaking points when the spell is lifted for that one moment and you're able to consciously see what it is that you've been settling with, what it is that you've been dealing with. That's when she says, come to me, because that's when you are most open to hearing her. That's when you are most open to looking at different options instead of just this set of options over here. She knows that if she tries to come to you before you are ready, you will not hear her. You'll just keep it the same routine while ignoring what she has to say. So she waits for us to break out of the grind, to break out of that matrix. That's when she speaks to us. She doesn't waste her time. Like I said, she sends you invite and she doesn't leave her throne. She doesn't break a sweat when she makes herself known to us. She doesn't break a sweat. It's not something that's stressful for her. It's not something that is difficult or challenging for her. She only works with cooperation, cooperative energy, okay? So far, I'm feeling like your Saturn could be like in the sign of Cancer, and that would be the 4th house. Or maybe in the sign of Pisces, and that would be the 12th house. And again, your Saturn does not have to be located in these places for this message to apply to you. That is just the energy that I'm picking up here from these cards. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards to see what else it is that Saturn has to say to you. Soulcraft. There is only light. Void of course moon. Missing. Wow. Leo, I will. And ask body. Wow. Okay, so we have like a lot of orange, blues. Your Saturn could definitely be in a fire sign, and that would be Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. So that would be the 1st, 5th, and 9th houses, as well as I'm definitely still getting some feelings of like some water signs, some water energy here. And we have another moon card. The high priestess is ruled by the moon, and we have the void of course, moon missing. So this could definitely be, your Saturn could definitely be in Cancer, which would be the 4th house, as well as Pisces or Scorpio, and that's the 12th and the 8th houses. But again, like I was saying, your Saturn does not have to be in one of these specific places. It's just the energy that I'm getting, okay? So with ask body, we're just going to start there. What did I say earlier, you guys? I said that you needed to tap into your body, ask it how it feels, if you feel tired, exhausted, or whatever it could be. So this card is confirmation that one way to snap out of the cycle that you may be stuck in is to tap into your physical being, to really take a nice, to really assess what it is that you are feeling. Like really just sit down one day and go, man, like what are you feeling? Are there any pains anywhere? Are you just tired? Are you just exhausted? Are you feeling sad? Do you want to just burst into tears? Do you want to just yell at somebody? What is it that you are feeling? And Soulcraft and There Is Only Light is telling me for sure that your life experiences were crafted or created specifically for you, for your soul's experience. There Is Only Light is saying to follow the path less traveled. Do what feels right, what feels best. As scary or as off-putting as that may seem, follow the light. Follow what will make you feel fulfilled, content, and complete. But first, make sure that you're asking yourself, ask your body. And then void of course moon missing in Leo is telling me that even when you have nothing left to give, you keep going. Even when the situation is dead, even when there is no life in it, you keep going. You keep breathing life into things that Saturn is trying to pull you away from. These are things that you have to become consciously aware of to be able to end the cycle, to end this pattern of actions and choices. You just have to release it, okay? Instead of you dealing with certain issues, with certain things, with certain circumstances and scenarios that really never belonged to you in the first place, you really have to release that feeling, that need of, I'm just going to do, I'm just going to help. You know, I'm just going to be there. I need to just be able to be there. You have to really release that. Some other energy I kept picking up during this reading is Virgo. Your Saturn could be in Virgo, and that is the 6th house. Definitely felt some Virgo here. But yeah, so this is all that I'm seeing for my pile 3s. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to thank again your guides, my guides, our higher self and spirit itself for coming through and delivering such a beautiful message today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until then, I'm just going to go on ahead and move on to the last pile number 4, all right? Bye, guys. All right, in pile 4, welcome to your reading. So this was the rune that you had placed on top of your pile, and this is the rune that is representing transformation, the egg of life and air, okay? All right, pile 4. So we are going to be starting off with this card all the way over here to the left, and this is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn is teaching you in this life. This card in the middle is going to be showing me how Saturn's energy manifests in your life, and this card all the way over here to the right is going to be showing me how you can work with Saturn for your benefit, okay? So let's start off with this card here, and we have the Tower. All right, so interacting with this card, touching this card, I'm feeling a heaviness in my chest. This feels like maybe fear. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So Saturn teaches you through endings and goodbyes. Saturn is trying to teach you how to cope with transitions and evolution. This life, this existence may feel very difficult for many of you that have intuitively picked pile 4. There's this feeling of just wanting to feel safe and like your feet is on solid ground, but it hardly ever feels like that. And when you can take a breath, when you are able to relax, you are fearing the next surprise. Saturn is teaching you how to deal with surprises, with the unexpected, with pain and setbacks and unsuspected twists and turns. And Saturn wants to teach you how to fall out of this tower without fear, with knowing that the chances of you hitting the ground are high, but as you are falling, Saturn is trying to teach you to trust and to know that you will stand back up, because the card that comes after the Tower is the Star, where she is stripped naked. She has lost everything, but she stands back up. Saturn's trying to teach you how to fail, how to hurt, how to encounter fears, but not allowing any of those fears, any of those challenges, any of those pains to keep you from hitting the ground, because guess what? You have to hit the ground from the Tower to get back up like the Star, pile 4. This is what Saturn is trying to teach you. Saturn is literally trying to suck the fear and anxiety out of you by saying falling and hitting the ground isn't the worst thing ever. It's actually a really good thing in some situations and in some scenarios, because it means you get to start over. It means that you get to start again. Maybe you're not starting completely over. Maybe you're just starting again. Maybe you're reworking things. Maybe you're revamping things. Either which way, this is your second lease on life. This is your this is your second opportunity, your second chance, or your third or your fifth or your eighth or your 10th, you know? So it's not always a bad thing to fall out of this tower and to hit the ground. That's what Saturn is trying to show you. And so you may keep experiencing certain setbacks and challenges until you develop this courage or a coping mechanism where you don't become so paralyzed by fear and anxiety. That's what Saturn is here to teach you, pile 4, okay? Let's go ahead and check out this card here. This is going to be showing me how Saturn's energy manifests in your life. So let's see what we have. And we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So Saturn manifests in your life as confusion. It manifests in a way where you feel frozen by fear sometimes, because you can't understand why some things have happened or how they happened or how you allowed it to happen right under your nose. How did you not see this? How did you not see that? How can you avoid it next time? It manifests as confusion because you have sat and contemplated, and I mean really ran through every little detail about certain situations and wondering, how did this happen? The only thing you never considered was that it happened for your benefit. You are always looking for the why did this happen, like in a negative way, where you see it as this terrible thing that's gone on and I have to understand why so I can avoid it or keep it from happening next time. But you are thinking of your life experiences in a way where you are disconnected from them. You see them as your enemy. You see them as there's this line in the sand, and these life experiences are on the other side and you're over over here. They are not with me. They are not for me. They are against me. They're trying to break me. They're trying to hurt me. My life wouldn't be like this if this hadn't happened and if this wouldn't have happened. You need to see your life experiences as your allies, these beautiful teachers that have come in to save you, that have come to strengthen you, that have come in to heal you. Healing is painful. Evolution and change is uncomfortable, but we have these ideas of what they're supposed to feel like and be like. And when they don't manifest in that way, we automatically assume, oh, well, this wasn't for me, or this wasn't what I asked for, or this is a bad thing. No, it's probably not what you asked for, but it's what was best for you either way. And Spirit knew that. That's how Saturn manifests in your life. Let's go ahead and check out this card here. This is going to be showing me how you can actually work with Saturn. All right. And we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So you can work with Saturn by turning your focus inwards. Instead of focusing on why did this happen and how did this happen? How can I avoid this? You should look at it as, what did I learn? Where's this new battle scar that I've earned? Where are these new stripes that I've bled for? Where's that new ability that I struggled to learn? How can I use this strength that came to me when I needed it the most? How did this change me for the better? You are changing for the better, and certain aspects of you are changing for the worse because you no longer need them. They are meant to be thrown right in the trash with love and appreciation for everything it is that they've taught you, right? We're going to do the spiritual thing here. We're going to do the new age thing where it's like, I'm throwing you away with love and appreciation. But it's like, seriously, on a serious note, yes, you're supposed to discard of these things and throw them away. That's why certain things have changed for the worse. That's why certain things are not improving or not getting better, because you are meant to leave them right here, right now, and move on to a future without these things still attached to you. But now that these things have expired, it's time to release them. Then there's the parts of you that evolved and matured for the better. What are those things? And anything that you didn't like, release it. You can work with Saturn by realizing that you've come a long way from who you were. You may have been afraid or hurt or in pain or lonely or angry. You may have felt weak, but it didn't break you. You are still here. You are still here. So look at the evidence. You are this beautiful, complex, intricate cocktail of experiences that have formed you by Spirit's hand. You are so beautiful and you don't even see it. Focus on your beauty, how far you've come, where you've gone, what you've persevered through. These are your proofs. This is your evidence. Even if you feel like you didn't do anything except for maybe cry, or if you feel like maybe you took the coward's way out, if you feel like you didn't step up and handle something in the way that you wanted to, you still lived through it. You focus on what it is that you have done. Focus on the proof of your experiences and wear those battle scars with so much pride and gratification that people look at these scars and feel inspired, that people look at this and say, damn, you're a warrior. Damn, you've really gone through some things, but you're still here. That strengthens me. That gives me inspiration. That gives me hope. This is how you work with Saturn, by showing pride and gratification. One day, just take a few minutes to look yourself in the mirror and just say thank you. From your heart, from your soul. Let it penetrate your entire being. Just say thank you to yourself for still being here, for learning, for growing, for failing, for crying, for being weak, for being strong, for being a warrior, for being afraid. Thank yourself for all of it, because it has made you you. And you are so precious in the eyes of Spirit and the universe. Wear that with pride, because Spirit itself sees you as the most beautiful of its creations. Spirit sees itself in you. And you were created through some tough things, yet here you are shining even brighter. The most beautiful diamond in the rough. Literally, that is like, this could sum up my pile fours. You guys are diamonds in the rough. You guys have been through some really like rough experiences that should have given you a rough or a tough or a hard exterior. But if anything, it's just made you more beautiful. It's made you have a bigger heart. It's made you more empathetic. It's made you more sympathetic. It's made you able to relate to others more. It's made you just more beautiful as a being and as a person. And that is something to seriously celebrate. Celebrate your difficulties, celebrate your challenges, celebrate all those things that you really hated, or that you really fought with, or that you really fought for. Celebrate all these things, okay, pile four? All right, so let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here to see what else it is that I'm seeing. And we have here, look at this, manifestation, meditation, moon, soul, and we have the pillar. So meditation and moon soul is telling me that you need to really tap into your being, your essence, so you can learn to appreciate who you are and everything that you've been through. Whether you see these experiences as bad or good, it's about tapping into that spiritual place where you see experiences as experiences and failures as lessons. Things stop being things. They stop having labels when you look from the eyes of the universe, when you look from the eyes of your higher self. Things stop being things and labels stop mattering. And manifestation is telling me that you are a powerful manifester that has had a hand in some outcomes that have happened in your life. So to be very, very, very careful with how you see things and with how you verbalize your life. If you are someone that talks about what they can't do, or how I struggled through this and that this was painful and that was painful, all of these things happened to me, then that is what is going to keep brewing in the energetic realm, and it will manifest in your physical world eventually. So be very careful with how you see these life experiences. That is extremely important for my pile fours, okay? And the pillar is again confirmation that you need to see yourself and see the things that you've been through as lessons and journeys and experiences that were meant for you. As well as I'm getting another strong sensation from this card, since we're dealing with the pillars, we're dealing with karma or manifestations, where what you feel, think, and say has a direct impact and influence on the world and reality you co-create. Okay, so the feelings that I'm getting here for my pile fours is I feel like your Saturn could be in Capricorn, which would be the 10th house. I feel like your Saturn could be in Virgo. That would be the 6th house. It could also very well be in Taurus. That would be the 2nd house. I'm not really feeling Taurus too strongly. Or I'm feeling like your Saturn could be in some sort of an air sign where you're just really hard on yourself. And that would be a Aquarius, Gemini, or a Libra. And that would be the 11th, 3rd, or 7th houses. So definitely pile fours. I feel like you guys are just in for like a spa day. I feel like you guys just need a day where you just really take it and appreciate yourself. I want to tell my pile fours, like, you guys need to start scheduling dates with yourself where it's like you don't have to spend $1 million. You don't even have to spend any money actually, but where you just take some time, even if it's just 10 minutes or an hour, to just really pamper yourself and to feel really good and to just do whatever the hell it is that you want to do. I feel like so many of my pile fours here, I feel like so many of you guys have forgotten who you are. You've kind of forgotten that you are worth spending time on, that you are worth spending energy on, that you are worth investing into. I feel like a lot of you guys forgotten that because you've gotten so wrapped up into other things. And so I feel like for my pile fours, I just really want you guys to look at yourself the way that the universe looks at you, the way that spirit looks at you, the way that your higher self sees you. I want you guys to really be able to just kind of take some time to just appreciate yourself and to move into a space of appreciation and of gratitude for your own self. That may be particularly difficult for some of my pile fours because you guys are so humble. But it's like, just really take some time to appreciate who you are and everything it is that you've gone through and been through and everything it is that you've accomplished and have done with yourself and with your life, okay? So this is all that I'm seeing for my pile fours. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self and spirit itself for delivering such a beautiful message today. Hopefully you guys come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys stay strong, stay amazing, take some time to really appreciate yourself, to pamper yourself, and I'll be back next time. All right, bye guys.